Hey, you guys, hello. Well, first of all, well done for taking all your supplements. They're not falling asleep due to season change. You're all here and looking gorgeous. I don't really like to talk about myself, so I prefer other people to talk about me. And somebody recently called me tall, charismatic, and definitely not heterosexual. Which actually true, but in fact I'm retired bisexual. And if I decide to unretire throughout my set, none of you are quite safe in this room. And some people are already avoiding eye contact, which means they were identified by me. Especially front row is trying to disappear. I love the energy. And as much as it's tempting it can feel to talk about one's sexuality, I prefer to talk about the history of my cultural integration in this beautiful country. So I'm Ukrainian, born under time of communism, and some of you can notice this thing called existential dread in my beautiful eyes. And you know, when I moved here 15 years ago, I packed all my post-communist trauma into suitcases. I came to the airport and they asked me to pay extra for directness. Because they told me, you're going to the country where majority of people are flakes and they will be offended everything you say. And my first job appraisal here in the UK, my line manager called me borderline unpleasant. And the only unpleasant thing is, why borderline? I'm unpleasant, it's intentional. And I'm rather enjoying it. For us as foreigners here, English is not our first language, and we use language very efficiently for what we want to express. Yet sometimes we forget very simple words. Early on in my London journey, I was coming back from clubbing, feeling quite vulnerable. Walked into Waitrose, and yes, they allow Eastern Europeans in now. And I was absolutely craving to procure cereal. But for the life of me, I couldn't remember the word. So I was cruising around shelves, and then I gave up. I went to the shop assistant and I said, can you possibly help me to find Morning Crisps? The amount of terror, confusion, and disappointment was clear, and they were like... And I said, well, you take Morning Crisps, milk, and this is your breakfast. They pointed me to the shelf, and this is, I find, the highest level of cultural integration to date. Can I get an applause, please? After living here for 10 years, I realized I would never look like British people, I would never sound like British people. But I decided to do the paperwork, right? So I applied, passed my test, attended citizenship ceremony where somebody gave me COVID. What a wonderful, warm welcome in the British public. Literally 3 days of fever after. And you know, the registrar kept telling us that we have to commit to uphold British values. But nobody gives you a manual how you would uphold those values after. But, you know, I moved on with my life, and then there was a magical moment when I realized that I was in the London bus from Brixton to Croydon. Teenagers were blasting their music from their phones, and I realized this is my moment to uphold the values. So my immediate reaction as Eastern European, I stood up. But then I remembered, my darlings, I'm British now. So I sat down and just rolled my eyes what I also did, I complained to my flatmates at home for 2 hours about because the essential Britishness is you can always only complain about other people in safety and privacy of your accommodation. But I turned 42 this year, and yeah, I'm expecting some reaction. No way, but no way. Yeah, but we not gonna hold grudge or not for long. And when you're young, you don't really worry about things, but the older you get, you start worry about things, and then things start worrying about you, and nothing gets done. But I worry about two main things. The first one is the lack of laughs at comedy shows. Is it really difficult to laugh every 15 and 20 seconds during comedy set, or is it cost of living crisis, or season change, or just general mood in the society? So we can all do better. You can all think when you get in privacy of your wonderful homes tonight. I want you to answer one question. Were you holding stuff back? Or you were generous with the energy in the room? So this is a bit of a homework, with not a punchline, but homework. I'm a very unique comedian, giving homework to audiences and not finishing on a punchline. You have been aesthetically pleasing to my beautiful eyes, and I have been Stormy Pasha. Have a great night.